I wanted to come on here and talk about these bomb threats that have been occurring at these HBCUs. And to be honest, when I heard that they had it happen another time, I said, now it's pretty obvious that they were targeted. Now, for those of you who don't know, I went to an HBCU. Now, I was looking at all these logos right here on your screen, but I don't see my school up here. But that's okay. But I did go to an HBCU, went in 2007 and graduated in 2011. And I know some people have some issues, when it comes to HBCUs, especially when they say when it comes to certain people that graduate out of there and how they're acting a certain way. Well, you are listening to an exception right here, because I'm not one of those people, and I could never be like, your roly-polies and all of them. Yeah, I could never be one of them. But there were some schools, some HBCUs that got targeted by bomb threats, not once, but twice. Because the first time it happened was a couple months ago, and now they recently happened again. And the irony of this one this time is that it happened on the first day of Black History Month. And I would not be surprised if the people that are involved were the same people from before, because from the article that I'm about to read, they have, I think, 4 people possibly that are possible suspects when it comes to these bomb threats. And they only are targeting HBCUs, not PWIs. And if y'all don't know what a PWI is, that stands for predominantly white institution. The FBI has identified 6 tech-savvy juveniles, so it was 6 of them, as persons of interest in threats to historically black colleges and universities on Tuesday, the first day of Black History Month. Howard University and the University of District of Columbia in Washington, D.C., and Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland, were among the schools that received threats. Now, keep in mind, the reason why they're mentioning those schools in particular is because I am reading this from a local website for the DMV area. So, of course, it would make sense that they highlight those particular schools. They came just the day after a rash of bomb threats to HBCUs in the United States. A law enforcement official said the FBI has identified 6 persons of interest around the country, all juveniles who are suspected of making the threats. The official said they appear to be tech savvy, using sophisticated methods to try to disguise the source of the threats, which appear to have a racist motivation. The bomb threat that was made about 2:55 a.m. Tuesday, Howard University said. A bomb threat against the university is being investigated. All persons on campus are advised to shelter in place until more information is available, an alert from the university said. Further details in the alleged bomb threat were not immediately available. A short time later, DC police and university police investigated a bomb threat to UDC's campus in the Van Ness neighborhood, the school said. Officers shut down streets including the 4200 block of Connecticut North Avenue Northwest and part of Van Ness Street Northwest, but the campus was open after the investigation didn't find anything. Morgan State University canceled in-person classes due to the threat. Access to campus will be closed as the university worked with emergency personnel to assess the situation. Everyone on campus should shelter in place until further notice, Morgan State officials said. Coppin State University, also in Baltimore, moved classes online Tuesday due to a campus emergency. Edward Waters University in Jacksonville, Florida, and Fort Valley State University in Georgia were among more than a dozen HBCU campuses threatened nationwide. Howard University and Bowie State University in Maryland were among at least 6 HBCUs were targeted by bomb threats Monday. Bowie State students were preparing to return to campus Tuesday after officials moved class online due to the threat on Monday. Howard University said in a letter to the university that several HBCUs have been subject to threats in recent weeks. The school says it coordinates with DC police and federal agencies to investigate the threats. The bomb threats Monday prompted a federal response. The FBI is aware of bomb threats received by some historically black colleges and universities, the agency said in a statement. The FBI takes all potential threats seriously, and we regularly work with our law enforcement partners to determine their credibility. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives also responded to the threats on Monday and was working with local law enforcement to continue investigating, Acting Deputy Director Thomas Chittum said. White House Press Secretary Jim Psaki said Monday that the threats are certainly disturbing and that White House is in touch with the interagency partners, including federal law enforcement, whose leadership is on this. We are relieved to hear that Howard and Bethune-Cookman universities have been given the all clear and will continue to monitor these reports, Psaki said. The president is aware. I don't believe he's received the formal briefing, but is aware of these reports. So when they said that they were going after HBCUs in particular, I already knew right off of the bat that this was a racially motivated thing. Like, it didn't, for me, it didn't even take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But I'm glad that they did capture the people that were were involved, because this definitely could have turned into a real thing. Because if this has some historical things behind it too, because I keep thinking of the bombings that a lot of black enclaves had at one point in time. Remember the 4 girls that died in that church bombing back in the 60s in Birmingham, Alabama. Then you had Move in 1985 when they dropped that duffel bag of C4 back in Philadelphia in 1985, and that's not talked about enough. And that happened back in 85. That's not long ago. That's 4 years older than me. That's not even 40 years ago. And that's not, like I said, it's not even nearly talked about as much as it should. But I'm glad that all of the students are okay, that none of the bomb threats actually turned into reality, because that would have been seen as a domestic terrorist attack. And then, of course, speaking of bombings, we can't forget Black Wall Street. Like, just thinking of that just makes me think of all the massacres that have happened involving black people. That's why I felt compelled to do this story, because of the link that it was. But like I said, luckily it didn't go beyond a threat. But I'm glad that the threat was taken seriously. But that's pretty much all I have for this video right here. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you are new, and make sure to have your notifications turned on to all to receive notifications every time I upload a new video or go live.